All right, folks, who are here at the Sunshine Coast Stadium, and for those who might be tuning in around the world and around this nation of ours, they thought COVID could stop us, but here we are again. The Sunbowl 2020 here live from the Sunshine Coast. We're only minutes away from our first part of the broadcast this morning, where our youth division will be taking place here on the field, and we'll see a couple of teams running out. Obviously later on followed by our juniors, Colts, women's and men's divisions respectively. But to open the day, the bright future of Gridiron Queensland. But to bring back our president, I'll be joined with me in the booth for the youth division coverage with GQ president Craig James, and later on Jason Garrity will also be joining us through. And you can see in the tunnel now the vision of the Gold Coast youth program there with a couple of key helpers. I will give this opportunity, we'll use this opportunity to bring in GQ President Craig James. Mate, welcome to the booth.
Thank you very much, Kenny. Yes, those couple of helpers in the tunnel there, that's Sarah Schultz, Christine Schultz, the coach, and James Hobby, one of the men's players who actually helps coaching with the youth program.
Yeah. James Hobby has been around the Stingrays quite some time. I was getting an update on the youth order coming out in the following order. It'll be the Stingrays, followed by the combination Spartans, Raptors, the Bears, Rhinos, Cougars, and then finally the combination of the Ravens and the Thunder, called the Thunderbirds, one of the coolest names going around. And also on field, we had a couple of late changes to the officials for the youth division, but heading up the charge for each field. On field A, we've got Jason Gambia. On field B, we've got the lovable Barbara Johnson. And on field C, Ian Taylor. So that is the Sunshine Coast Stadium field. Maybe not as pristine as it was in the playoffs of 2019. They had a couple of late changes around that's looking a little sandy. But yeah, it did serve as home to the Melbourne Storm for the 2020 NRL season. Of course, they walked away with an NRL premiership, so hopefully a couple of teams looking to emulate their success here on this field today. Craig James, Youth Division, 2 minutes away from run out. Now, why don't you give us... Oh, check that. We are running out right now by Gold Coast Stingrays.
I've got the Raptans following them.
Is that the name they're going under?
Well, that's what I've been putting on the draw each week.
There are the Bears,
so the Raptors Cubs and the Spartans mixed together.
They're the Thunderbirds, the Cougars, and isn't it good to have some yellow back here in Gridiron Queensland? Obviously, the Ipswich Cougars, a huge club, particularly in the early 90s of Gridiron Queensland, and fingers crossed that this junior program is what springboards that club back into prevalence here in Gridiron Queensland.
Yes, well, the Cougars and the Stingrays used to have quite a battle back in the.
You played in some of those, did you not?
The early 2000s and late 90s.
Jeez, and if you go to the Wikipedia page and you look back to the history, a lot of people don't know Gridiron Queensland pre the live stream era, I should say. There was quite the rivalry between the Cougars and the Stingrays. You're right, I think it was back and forth, and the Cougars took a couple in a row. The Stingrays got one back, and then, well, from 2006 onwards, it was a lot of Columbia Blue.
Yes, there was a lot of silverware went home with the Stingrays since that date, but we've had a couple of lean years in the men's. Yes. We're doing very well in the lower grades with the juniors and the Colts. So they're your building blocks
Well, speaking about building blocks, this is what the youth program has become. It's looking healthy. It's looking well represented from a number of clubs now. But the actual youth division of the youth program as it exists today, it started a few years ago. You're one of the key people at getting it started, Craig. Take us back to the start.
Well, back when youth started, basically the president of the Stingrays back in 2000, well, for the majority of the Stingrays' history, Jeff Hay, has started a Sunday afternoon thing for the youth, and it was basically just going with a bit of flag and getting interest in the younger ages. We actually started at 8 years old back in the day. Jeez. And it became a little bit difficult to get that age group with the numbers, so we just continued on with 10 to 14 or 10 to 13s. So and
you guys found that out to be a bit more of a productive age, I suppose? Yeah. Or a bit more recruiting age? Just Craig's getting used to having multiple personalities in his ear for the first time.
Yeah, I got this dude directing cameras in my ear, and no, this one's all right. It's this one.
You'll get there.
But sorry, Kenny.
So you're saying, the ages of 10 to 13, you guys found that to be a bit of a sweet spot for introducing people to the game. Yeah,
there's a lot of interest coming from kids as they're, I suppose, playing Madden at home and then seeing American football more on TV, especially a lot more than what we used to be able to get it back in our day.
Kenny, one game of SBS a year. Read some news article clippings every now and again.
There's more than the Super Bowl to American football.
I still remember. I think it was the 06 Super Bowl or one of the early Super Bowls. I think it was the Bears Colts, Peyton Manning's first one, and I think it might have been one of the more respected newspaper articles had Robbie Gould, the kicker, pictured as their quarterback. That's the times. That's what people used to have to compete with compared to the days of KO and Game Pass and all the different sort of streams available to them nowadays.
I know, it's amazing. And actually the participants of the local football, local Gridiron, these days are very fortunate too, having such things as the live stream that's happening today. And most clubs film their football for their coaches and for the enjoyment of the players' families and friends. And that film, ultimately ends up sometimes in the hands of an American coach that advances a player over into the college system.
And hasn't that become more and more prevalent over particularly in the last decade?
Yeah, especially in the last decade, but even more so in the last 2 years.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Like it used to be, once someone got wind of an Australian player getting any sort of college talks or JUCO talks, it would be the talk of the town. Now it feels like I can open my Twitter or open my Facebook, and we've got a new, young man and hopefully, ideally, young lady in the future to come. Getting an offer from, all these high schools or junior colleges or,
exactly.
Canadian clubs, European clubs for some of the older folks.
Yeah, true.
But it all starts here, and ideally a program like this only continues to increase those numbers. I'm looking at the field one there. How about the run there from the young Cougar? Getting to the outside, probably needs to work on that ball carrying arm just a little bit. He'll learn. Or she. I can't quite make it out from here.
That's the advantage of having helmets, is equalises everything out there, doesn't it? Everybody looks the same.
And that's exactly right. How about you talk about that as we see an incomplete pass on field 2 there. Field 3 has got the Stingrays and the Raptans, as we'll call them, the Rapton Spartans, with a beautiful grey on orange uniform there. But yes, obviously you said it started with flag football, which is a very wonderful place to start, and we'll get talking about GA's new initiative with flag football soon. Actually, I can announce that. But when did you make the decision to move to full kit, and was that a hard decision? What was the process of making that decision to move to full kit organised football?
Well, back when we moved into, there was 3 clubs basically doing youth. Actually 4. Ravens had a lift-off program running But the clubs that decided to go into gear were the Stingrays, the Logan Bears, and the Raptors.
Mm-hmm.
The Raptors called their crew Pee-wees, Logan called theirs Cubs,
Yep.
and we just called ours Youth, and Youth actually stuck as the title for the division.
Oh, big tackle there on field 3. Field 2 going for a bit of a speed option look, covered well by the number 21. Gets him down by the arm, and field 1's down seeing some action. This is amazing. This is like red zone. We got our own little GQ red zone happening here. Nice run there by the 9. And how cool are some of these uniforms being mixed up there like that? I mean, it's a striking look there with the Thunder and the Ravens. They've got the Ravens purple on the back, the Thunder up the front. It's outstanding to watch. This is making for a great visual, along with the Raptors Spartans uniform there. Jeez, imagine a couple of the senior uniforms doing this.
Yeah, that would be an entertaining thing. But yeah, just look at the Stingrays uniform. They've gone with a little bit of a new look this year.
I was about to say, and from what I know of the Stingrays president, much more of a traditionalist. What sprung the camo change, or the digital camo change there, Craig?
Well, it's still predominantly Columbia blue. That's one thing we'll make sure that we never move away from, is the Columbia blue.
It's famous.
Well, I'm still around anyway.
The only change I can date back, and this steps away from the youth division talk just for a hot second there, is getting rid of, and this is pre-Spartans days even, but getting rid of the orange in the Stingrays uniform. When did that come about, and why?
Well, that actually falls into my absentee period.
Of course.
Yeah, so I wasn't around. I was around since '87 to '92. Then moved back into football again in 2011.
Any thoughts
with
of bringing
the
it back?
Stingrays. And well, the orange, was something that I saw some photos of, and I thought, it's interesting.
Just a hint of it. Just a hint.
Yeah, no, I've only ever been involved with a club when they've been, predominantly Columbia blue.
Oh, and we might have just missed it there talking about a bit of orange and Columbia blue chat. Thankfully, my man who will be handling a lot of the on-field correspondence, Liam Reeves, has got his eyes on the prize. Field 1 just scored its first touchdown. And we might be getting the replay of it now. They had a conversion attempt unsuccessful. So here we are. I think this is the replay of it now. The Thunderbirds with, nope, I incomplete pass to the corner there, but the Thunderbirds on the board first here out of the 3 fields. And they tried again. I think the 2-point conversion got called back, and they got another opportunity there. So I think they've converted one there on field 1, if our guesstimations are correct. Now, Craig, so it's been a couple of years now. The youth program has come into full effect. Probably this might be one of the first 1 or 2 years, as actually we're getting a replay of it now. Look at that inside the pylon there. Good job, big number 99. Surely he'll be moving into the junior division sooner rather than later. But yes, this is one of the one of the more organised years of youth football from now and when it first started. What's the biggest improvements you've seen as far as the players' developments?
Oh, it's basically, I suppose, the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers of young people that are interested in actually playing, both male and female, mostly male. But there's some tough girls out here too.
Oh, absolutely.
But the main thing that's really taken a step forward is the interest. Mm-hmm. Not only from the players, but also...
Oh, wow. What a grab there on field 2. Sorry to cut you off there, Craig.
No, that's okay.
And there's another touchdown on field 1 as we speak as well. That's the Thunderbirds getting in, and a huge DeAndre Hopkins-like catch on field 2, and even had the red and black uniforms there, giving us a bit of a little accuracy to that. And there's some tough running happening on field 3. There you can see in the... Oh, here's the Thunderbirds replay. There's a nice little run up the middle there. They got them for their second score of the day. And, oh, there it is. How about that, Craig? Look at that. High pointing the ball.
It too.
Number 7, getting up there, high point in that football. That's getting Liam Reeves here up in the booth getting excited. But yes, numbers, and look, and obviously the more numbers there are, the more exposure there is, and for every person that participates, that means that's a mum, a dad. Oh, another big catch on field 3 as well. He caught that lying down.
Yes, one of the other increases in personnel is the actual the coaches and the players from the older divisions coming down and helping out. Yeah, great catch.
That concentration, a long touchdown. Geez, the touchdowns are coming hard and fast here. The Cougars have sprinted down their left-hand sideline, number 80, with a big long touchdown for the Cougars. But yes, you're right. It has provided an opportunity for some of the, the old boys, old girls of the sport to find a home in the sport again.
Yeah, well, it's not only. There's a good run down that sideline there. Good replay.
Good job, media. Paul Mills on the directing once again. Paul Mills back for his 7th. Well, what we might actually get to do, we might get Liam heading down there. There's so much action happening that we might send Liam down with our sideline camera and he'll be able to give us some action from there. So Liam's going to head down and meet down our sideline camera, and he's just going to give us a general lay of the land when he's down there. But as we just double checking with Liam Reeves emptying the room, but yes, oh geez, number 30 with a huge catch again. What a drive for that young player right there, Craig James. 2 big catches on that drive.
Yeah, they definitely seem to be throwing to the point where we've got the littlest guy on the field covering. But that's okay. That's what you've got to do.
And dare I say it, how hopeful is that for a long time? And you know me, I coached in the Colts division, or what used to be called the junior division back in the day. Getting the passing game going was one of the more difficult things, and here we are in the youth division seeing passing concepts and completed passes for long touchdowns, not just a slant and a cloud of dust.
Because the kids are out there throwing footballs around all over the place now. I've seen kids at rugby league training, warming up before their training, and they're throwing a gridiron ball around.
There you go.
So everybody wants to be involved with throwing that football around, so that's a good thing.
All fields, I think, have got action going on. The Raptans, as I'm calling them, have just gone in for a touchdown. That's number 2, coming in with the old school gold Raptors helmet, and the Gold Coast Stingrays looking to answer back on this ensuing drive.
Yes, that's one thing we've got to make sure that we keep grounded in the youth division, is the fact that this is the era that we want the kids to learn, right? Yes, there's got to be a bit of competitiveness to it, but we want it to be more so the learning experience that will take you into the next level of full competition in the juniors.
Oh, hang on, bit of trickery there. Wow, was that a triple reverse I saw there on field 1? And now they've got plenty of room, and that will be another Thunderbird touchdown. Wow, a triple reverse, getting tricky with it. That's number 62 from the Thunderbirds with a nice long touchdown ripped down the left-hand side. So they're opening up the playbook, Craig.
Sorry, what's that, mate?
They're opening up the playbook.
They are. I mean, and that's the other thing too. It's the plays are getting a little bit more complicated, and the kids are actually learning more from their coaches with these different plays.
And let's not get away from your point you made earlier there about development. There'll be obviously plenty of time and plenty of divisions where you'll be able to get as competitive as you like moving up in the sport. But right now, look, let's not make any bones about it. And that's a nice conversion there on field 1. Let's not make any bones about it. Like, this is a complicated game, more complicated than a few other ones out there, and there's a few things to learn, and the more fundamentals you can learn at this younger age which means the further you can develop as you go up the divisions.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the other things, we don't want it to be all about winning. Of
course.
We want it to be about actually learning the game so that you're going to be better in the older divisions. And we want it to be still competitive for the kids, because just running around
Nice catch.
and not
Nice
having
tackle.
anything count, can get a little bit boring for
Of
a
course.
kid. So we want them to, strive to win, right? But we don't want it to be
You don't want to take
about
away
winning.
from. Yes, 100%. And that's the journey in all sort of this levels of football, is finding that sweet balance and that.
Well, I think you'll find there's nothing like this, right, anywhere else in Australia at the moment.
Right
and
now.
we want them to, in the other states to develop youth programs like this, because it'll only be good for the sport.
100%, and probably a proud thing for us to say in Gridiron Queensland is ideally, hopefully, we've found between the hard work that you and Jason Garrity and all the Lara Bowl from the Cubs and whatnot.
Well, there's just mentioned myself and Jason. There's you got to remember Jeff Hay,
Jeff
but
Hay, of
also at the Bears, the driving force behind it back in the day was Peter Farrar.
Pete Farrar.
Peter Farrar's been around football for a long time, and he's fighting fires in the bush.
Good on you, Pete. But you're right, Pete Farrar was a big advocate for youth development there, along with some other folks. Steve Box, when he was still around in Gridiron Queensland, was a huge proponent for it. You mentioned earlier the Ravens had the what they referred to as the liftoff program, which they had going for a good number of years under a couple of different folks down there. So it's everything's probably been in the making, but it's nice to see it come as a combined effort now and a league-wide effort in this current age in 2020. It's been a bright spot in what's been the year that is 2020. And the Gold Coast Stingrays now, they're looking for a chance to make a couple of big plays here over on field 3. And they're coming out with a twin set out to the right. A little bit of confusion, but now the quarterback, with donning the number 22 jersey, will cut it back and get a couple of tough yards. Field 1, what's happening over there? Big tackle for a loss. That Thunderbird outfit looking good. And that, hearing a lot of whistles, I think we might have reached halftime there in the youth div. Or could that just be support? I'm hearing someone's brought a vuvuzela or something.
It looks like they're all leaving the field, so it's halftime. Then we've got a little bit of a 7-minute halftime break.
Couple of oranges. And let's oh no, I think the middle field's still going to go for a play there. That's the Rhinos team. A lot of that put together initially from Coach Booker over years past, but let's get back to the program itself. Obviously, we're at a pretty good state right now here, with multiple, close to 6 teams running about and being organised. Plans for the next 5 years as far as the youth program goes.
Well, there's a lot of talk amongst certain people that they want to move into full competition next year in the youth program. Personally, I think it's probably not really the right time, maybe in 3 or 4 years.
Sure.
But we need to get the kids at this level to a higher quality of football to be able to actually really run a competition. And it's not only the kids that are new into the football world or the gridiron world, it's the parents that we have to,
Of course.
well,
Educate.
for want of a better word, I was going to say train.
Either or.
Get them thinking gridiron. It's a different game to be a parent in compared to rugby league or soccer or anything like that. It's a different game, so there's different rules. We found that a lot of parents wanting to learn more about the rules. We've got Lance Tonga Kilo. He's put together a bit of a
a bit of a Gridiron 101.
Yeah, that's what he calls it. Yeah, Gridiron 101. And he explains in easier terms some of the simple rules to help the parents, get a handle on what's going on with their kids out in the field. So it's a good thing. And I would envisage that once we get youth to the level where we make competition and then give them a Sunbowl, we would be looking at probably starting an even younger division,
a true
running
division,
running it the same way we're running the youth now.
Yeah, well, that would be to the effect of the American term, the sort of Pop Warner division, I suppose.
That's the kind of thing we'd be looking at. And then, conceivably in 20 years' time, you're going to have people who have played in the lowest, youngest division, and going through the ranks as they do in rugby league and soccer and other sports, and finishing their sporting career as far as amateur career is concerned, in the same sport that they started in when they were a kid.
Which has probably been the biggest challenge for this sport over the last 25, 30 years. We've been getting athletes probably later in their lives after they've kind of gotten bored of some of their other sports that they grew up with.
Checking their bucket list.
Exactly right. They say, oh, great, I always wanted to give that a crack. I guess we've probably missed out on a lot of development from a lot of players who could have been outstanding, American footballers had they had that little bit more of an experience. So for us to be competitive from a younger age and to be genuinely on the radar for a lot of these young Australian kids, that's obviously a huge facet as to why this program is so vital to the development of our sport in our state and our country, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, like you look at the Outback team as far as, having an Outback team full of players who have played one code through their whole life, right, and know the game, we might be very competitive in the future.
And well, I think that's also been the case, hasn't it? You've had, when we take on some of the powerhouse nations, I'm not even just talking about the big ones in US, Canada, Mexico, but even some of a lot of the European states, the biggest the biggest comment, the fumble on field one there is safely recovered by the Thunderbirds, is that the inexperience certainly comes to the forefront on the biggest stages of, say, World Cup or any of the international friendlies. And, it doesn't help when you may have some of these talented athletes that may have just heard, what a fade, a slant, or an inside zone was for the first time within probably the last 18 months.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's still a very proud thing to play for your country. Of
course.
But it'd be even a better thing if you can be competitive playing for your country.
100%.
And no offence to anybody who plays for the Outback.
Stiff arm. How about
have been involved in the program.
Big boy, and the touchdown dance as well. He's having some fun out there. I bet that chills you to your core there, Craig. Less comments the better on that one there. It's a new era of football. But yes, 100%. It has that flow-up effect, I suppose, is where, whether the earlier they're learning football, the more they can develop those skills as they get older. It's not, you're not learning how to match a snap count at age 16.
That we talked all the way through half-time.
Yes, we did. I was going to give us a break, but here we go. We're back all the way through it. There's just that much football to talk. But you said it's provided an opportunity for a lot more other people to jump back into a coaching or a volunteer aspect. As these Thunderbirds are using a lot of misdirection. Other two teams are still in huddles, but it's provided an opportunity for a couple of old heads to come back into the sport and jump on board. Any other particular names jumping to mind? Over at the Stingrays, anyone come back through after coming out of the woodwork?
So I have to have a little think about that.
Yeah, I know the Bears had a few there, and I think even the Thunder have grabbed some of the players of Logan of old, and there's a big run on field too.
Yeah, we've got some players or some people who have been involved with the club earlier that have come back to the sport. Not so much in helping out the youth at the moment, but everybody out there in the gridiron world who's been involved with gridiron for the last few years would know the name Simon Groth.
Oh, Grothy, yes, dude.
And he's their he's got his lad playing in the Colts now, and he's helping coach the team.
Rapton's big fella going for a sojourn up the left-hand side.
Yes, that's our biggest comeback, and then there's of course that guy that ended up becoming president, who disappeared for 19 years. And this is the thing about when people finish with their playing, or they've retired from coaching after being involved with the sport for a very long time. If they are as committed to the sport as they have always appeared to be, they're going to come back, right? I mean, it took me 19 years to come back, but I came back.
Found home.
And it was all about timing, and I came back at the time that the club needed me. So I don't know if you wanted to believe in destiny or anything like that, but and then Simon's back involved now.
And I'm sure that's going to be the case with a lot of the different clubs. And I don't care what anyone says, there's something pure, there's something exciting, and there's something fresh about coaching kids. Who are bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and are just sponges for learning.
Exactly. I mean, it's good. It's very satisfying as a coach to tell somebody something they don't know anything about, and then for them to actually get out on the field and to execute it correctly. Great sense of satisfaction for the coach.
And especially in a sport like this where everything is, oh wow, the Cougars on field one, another long touchdown to that.
Yeah, and the left-handers just ran in one over the Stingrays there.
So that's Harris, according to the back of the jersey, getting a touchdown there, and that's number 80 for the Cougars. That's their second long-range touchdown. So plenty of athleticism on show here today between the three fields. And for those who might be trying to create a bit of context, we've got three fields running across our main field today. They're going sideline to sideline, quite literally.
Yeah, this is how we've run the program through the year. We actually, in its entirety, we didn't actually play last weekend because at the Raptors because of a heat wave. We didn't want the kids to overheat. So for safety reasons, we called last week off. But we had 7 rounds of 3 games each. So each team played 21 games.
That's a lot of football.
It's a lot of football. I mean, the shortened games and everything like that. But I think I counted up the entire draw ended up being about 96 games. Oh, and that's with the 8 weeks, and then we've got these 3 games happening here. So 99 games of football in a year.
Reckon
it's not a bad program.
Reckon we can throw one more, just hit a nice clean 100? We'll get an 11-a-side situation. We'll get them all together and we'll play 11-a-side.
That'd be good. Let's count the presentation of medals after the game as a game.
Surely there was a scrimmage somewhere there that makes it a nice even 100.
We'll get them all to tackle the coaches.
There you go. And some of these coaches, imagine them trying to take down Jason Garrity, who, might I add, was supposed to be partnering you here in the booth today. Now I see him on the far sideline with Mitch Powell from Rockhampton.
He came into the back of the booth just before and saw that he didn't have a set of headphones for him. So I was ready to take him off, but
here he goes. And oh wow, look at the underhand throw there, a bit of improvisation there from the Bears quarterback. No doubt that's inspired by some Paddy Mahomes action, and fingers crossed that maybe we've got a Australian Paddy Mahomes of our own here in this youth program. But
you can see Jason over the other side of the field there behind the sideline of the.
Yeah, he's on field. I think to
be
field 3.
Stingrays.
And field 1's another. I swear that the left wall, our right hand side of field 1, has been absolutely money for the teams running on that side, whether it's the Cougars or whether it's the Thunderbirds. We've seen a lot of touchdowns down that left hand side.
Yes, it looks like the grass is a little bit dead out there. It's actually not grass; it's sand. Right, and it was the photo I saw the other day was a lot worse than what it looks now. But what it is they had monster trucks here.
That's exactly right.
And they normally leave the sand on top of the field over the off season, but ended up having to take a lot of it off
Touchdown
to get our field ready.
So yeah, they've had to desperately comb it all off after the end of the NRL season, and when they had monster trucks going on for their little exhibition, then Gridiron Queensland's coming in like, we should probably get rid of that sand. And
yeah,
I'll tell you what though, from and I'm getting confirmation from my man here, Liam Reeves, that the grass that's on the field, it's good.
It is. I had a little walk down there before myself, and it's very nice underfoot. Right, if you don't get your face mask planted in a pile of sand that's there, you'll probably enjoy your game. But yeah, you might have to have your eyes squirted out on occasion if you're a player out there later today.
And I'll tell you what, let's go back to more of the actual the junior development. I'll tell you what,
the youth
development, apologies, but you'll see why I said junior in a second. Obviously, commentating, it's what I do here, and that involves making a lot of team lists and whatnot. And I do try to look back on the previous year's team lists and notes and whatnot, and I try to see where players have come from. And look, I'll give your club a personal shout out here. Seeing all the different names that have come up from what I presume was the youth program, but at least from Colts, from juniors to Colts and whatnot, and seeing that take place and seeing the actual genuine goals of these programs actually come to fruition, I should say, it is honestly inspiring to see. Obviously, the Gold Coast Stingrays, the blueprint is there as far as how to get things done and the benefits you can reap from it, because a lot of these players that are highlighted that have been in the division below or the program below and have come up, they're usually the star players of the next division. So it's a big shout out to Gold Coast and all the clubs there that have got players successfully moving upstream.
Yeah, it's something that's we at the Stingrays find as one of our primary goals is to retain players through the divisions. And
number 80 again.
Here
just
we go.
To quickly cut you off. That's 3 touchdowns of over half the length of the field for number 80. I'll tell you what, scouts, get your eyes in on this kid.
He's got a bit of speed
Cougars,
there.
get a junior program because this kid needs a place to play. But you were saying, sorry, the goals of the Stingrays.
Hang on a sec.
Oh, Jason Garrity's trying to get our attention. Be some sort of issue, I guess.
I think he's talking to the folks down below.
And there's your more than half your committee there. Lance Kilo, the vice president. Mitch Powell, as I mentioned earlier.
I think we've almost come to... No, they're still playing.
Still a bit of time. There's Brendan Phillips as well in that little trio I'm spotting on the sideline there. The head coach of the Spartans, and this year the Spartans-Raptors combination junior team. Bit weird not to be talking to him this week, actually. It's been the Spartans have been a regular occurrence in the junior and Colts Sunbowls.
Yeah, it was a game last weekend that was going to decide whether the Raptors Spartans combination Colts team was going to come into the Sun Bowl or the Rhinos, and the Rhinos pipped them at. Well, they actually beat them pretty convincingly, actually.
Well, yeah, it isn't like, obviously didn't have playoffs this season. COVID hit us, and you guys did a wonderful job of making sure Queensland and Gridiron did happen, albeit being in an adjusted sort of season. But it ended up working out that week 10 ended up serving as pretty much a playoff week for a lot of these teams anyway.
Well, it did. It was hard getting the thing up and running this year, and a lot of doubt in the early days. Some clubs, I don't know, some clubs it might be to do with demographics, but they seem to suffer more. Oh, we've got a Rhino here. He's running for a touchdown. No? Yes, he's got it.
Good work.
It's some of the clubs seems to have found it harder to get players than normal. I mean, everybody's percentages as far as membership was down, except for in the youth.
Tipped us at number 30 over there, and for the Raptors, or the Spartans Raptors team, he's having a heck of a game there as well. And Intercept, a big fella for the Thunderbirds going through. But yeah, obviously, I think everyone's decision making this year was probably a little up in the air about what they wanted to do and whatnot. I'm sure work probably became a factor for a lot of people as well.
No, then we're putting COVID plans in place and restrictions and entrances and exits to our fields.
It's been a massive undertaking, obviously, for anyone to be running sport, but obviously this sport that involves so many people and so many volunteers, so many officials. You guys have done a wonderful job in the members committee to make sure that we had a functional season, and obviously here it culminates in the 2020 Sunbowl.
He was saying
we had a replay on field 1 that I might have just been talking over there, but more fantastic action.
Yeah. Here we go.
I'm going to get a full screen of it now. Bit of touch. Oh, look at that. On the right.
Nice pass, right on the numbers.
And the name escapes me there of the Logan City Juniors coach. Did head coach the youth, the junior team for the Bears last year when they had their playoff appearance here at this field.
So I've got a few stats here for you if you're interested, Kenny.
Go for it.
So
and Jaden Thompson, that's the right. Looking back through my notes.
We've got 2019 player levels versus 2020. The 60% down in the women's division, 19% down in the men's division, 22% down in the Colts division, and 19% down in the juniors division, and 19% increase in the youth.
Well, the kids know where it's at, is what I'm hearing. And this might be the last play of the game between the three teams, and I think it's going to be a sack. The balls come loose, and the Logan City Cubs jump on it. I think they're going to deem it an incomplete pass. That's the end of the third game there. And I think
I've just got to probably pop down to the sideline now.
Actually, so I'll release you from your duties there, Craig. You've got to go do your presidential ting. Head down to the field. Thank you for joining us in the booth today and giving us all this insightful knowledge.
Yeah, no, it was a pleasure. It was good to get that message out there.
Indeed. For those who might be looking to enrol their son or daughter to football in 2021, hit up the website, hit up the Facebooks.
Yeah, well, I mean, like we've got 8 clubs represented here today. In the youth program. So. A couple of combined clubs, but it's the future of the game, and we're looking forward to seeing what it brings.
All right, I won't hold you back any further. Craig James, thanks for your time.
Okay, I'll catch you later.
And we're going to wrap up here, but use this quick opportunity to bring in what will be my partner in crime for much of the day, Liam Reeves.
Hello,
as we wait for Craig to head down to the bottom there.
Let me jump over you, Kenny, real quick.
We'll have a quick second there. We're just seeing the wrap-ups of the youth division, and I might have called them juniors a good handful of times, but Liam Reeves, you're going to be popping up and down from the field and the air-conditioned booth up here at Sunshine Coast Stadium as we look to cover the 4 other divisions for today in this 2020 Sunbowl 36 officially, starting with the juniors, finishing off with the men's. It's going to be exciting days. Overall thoughts you've got as you've arrived here this morning here at Sunshine Coast on this overcast and hopefully clear day?
Yeah, well, it's always good to get in a venue like this, right? And especially, the Sunbowl last year was at the Redcliffe Dolphins, correct?
Yes, correct.
So getting venues like this, I think especially for the kids, these youth teams to get in here and they're going to be blowing up their Instagrams and all that sort of stuff. They'll love it. They'll go tell the teachers and things if they're still in school. That is, pretty sure school's out.
I'm pretty sure there is more than half of the men's teams
fair
getting
play.
their hashtags ready and their filters set.
Don't worry, I'm already doing it. I'm not even playing today. I'm in the booth and on the field, but not in gear. So, And something I wanted to touch on as well, and you'll see there's a lot of young girls, like for the Bears, 82 for example. I think I saw one with the Rhino squad. And it's good for them to get involved and seeing that the women's teams are also getting a pathway, and it's not just focused on Colts. But yeah, and then I believe there's some women playing for the Colts teams.
Yeah, there is. Obviously, Laurie Lee Clifford for the junior division as well. And, you got a couple there in the Colts that have also stepped up to the women's division in 2019 as well. So, yes, absolutely great to see some of the pathways be opened up for them. But that has been our display of the youth division here in 2020. Fingers crossed this becomes a regular installment and only grows here and here. And, maybe one day we will have our own competitive youth division Sun Bowl in its entirety on its own. But I'm Kenny Andres. It looks like our vision has been cut. So if I'm still going out to you, Kenny Andres, Liam Reeves, we will be your friends and company for Sun Bowl 2020. Stick with us. Junior division kicking off in approximately 15 minutes.
Ciao for now.